terribly excited about this man, and I know a lot of other people are too. He was a huge hit at CPAC. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, who is running on the GOP ticket for Florida's 22nd district. And Colonel West, I just want to say thank you, first of all, for being on with me this afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good afternoon to you, Dana, and to your listening audience. It's my honor to be on your show.
Well, we're very honored to have you. One of the reasons that I'm very excited about your candidacy, and I think a lot of others are too, is, I mean, you're a true conservative, but one of the things that, a problem that we keep seeing in different politicians, different candidates, is that people seem to be a slave to political correctness. And I was reading this article about you not too long ago, and it was discussing the Fort Hood situation, the shooting at Fort Hood. And you are not at all afraid to say statements like the enemy is infiltrating our military. And I see a lot of candidates, a lot of even the current lawmakers, it seems as though they're a little bit shy about identifying the enemy against whom we're fighting, but yet you're not. It's very refreshing. And I have to say that it's very nice to see that in a candidate. That's, something that it's nice to see, because a lot of people are too afraid to say that. But I wanted to ask you to perhaps clarify a little bit. When you say the enemy is infiltrating our military, you have award-winning military service. You've served our country for such a long time. What is it that you are seeing from your perspective?
Well, I think you go back and you look at the case with the Major Hassan incident. No one is talking about it being a terrorist case. If you read the Fort Hood After Action review or report from that incident, nowhere is it mentioned the word Islam. Nowhere is it mentioned the word jihadist, terrorist, or anything like that. They don't even mention man-caused disaster. I think that what you have to be concerned about is this political correctness is really causing us to be somewhat paralyzed in properly identifying this enemy and understanding their goals and objectives. Major Hassan should never have been transferred from Walter Reed Army Medical Center to Fort Hood, Texas. As a matter of fact, he should have been what we call chaptered out of the military, or put out of the military, because we found out about his dealings and some of the things he was professing, even to when he was supposedly counseling our soldiers. We found out about the PowerPoint presentation he gave. We found out about his association with a very radical Islamic cleric there in Northern Virginia, who now is over in Yemen as part of Al-Qaeda in Yemen. And we know about his instances going and searching jihadist websites and making postings there. But for whatever reason, people were afraid to stand up and say anything about it. And you can go back also to 2003, when we had a Sergeant Hassan who threw a couple of grenades into the tent of his commanding officers of the 101st Airborne Division in the base camp in Kuwait before that unit launched off on its mission into Iraq. So we have had these things occurring, but no one is really talking about it. And not to mention the Muslim convert who was formerly known as Carlos Bledsoe from Memphis, Tennessee, who somehow got a Somali passport, went to Yemen, got terrorist training, and went back to Little Rock, Arkansas, and shot 2 United States Army soldiers at the recruiting station there. And when we looked into the trunk of his car, we found like a target list and computer files and more weapons and ammunition. But yet no one is putting all of these things together and talking about the fact that we are on the 21st century battlefield right here in the United States.
Absolutely. And the war, I think, it has changed. I mean, we're not in the era anymore where everyone meets on the battlefield and matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's completely different. How do you see us working to combat this, especially if it's happening, in our own forts and things like that here in the United States? And we had the CIA, the CIA informant over in the Middle East that ended up being a suicide bomber. I mean, how do you even begin to combat this?
Well, one of the first things, David, you have to understand, as I said in that piece I wrote about Fort Hood, is the reality of your enemy must become your own. We can't continue to deny this situation. We can't continue to make over these very glossy terms, religion of peace, and try to wish this problem away, because we're seeing an infiltration, not just within our military systems, but our economic systems, our social and cultural systems, our political systems with groups like the Council for American Islamic Relations, the Muslim American Council, the Muslim Political Action Committee, the Islamic Society of Northern America. A lot of these groups are tied right back to the Muslim Brotherhood, which if you go and study, they are the number one promulgators of, jihadist ideology in concert with the money that's coming from Saudi Arabia and the petrodollars. So I think the most important thing we have to do is get principal leaders that are not afraid to speak up, but have studied and understand the facts and are willing to combat this situation right on, face to face. I'll give you a great example. Here, just this past weekend, Saturday evening, the Council for American Islamic Relations, an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation, was allowed to have their annual fundraising dinner in the Broward County Convention Center. And it's just appalling in that, we have a council government, a county government that would allow this to happen.
Absolutely. And then we have an administration that is entertaining the idea of trying these combatants that are captured in criminal courts instead of with military tribunals. I mean, that's a very dangerous, slippery slope. What is your perspective on that?
It's a huge slippery slope, and the thing is, what you need to do is go to the Geneva Convention and the Articles of the Geneva Convention. It says that non-uniform, non-state belligerents who are not openly declaring their weapons or their intent, if they're captured on the battlefield, they're not deserving of any rights. So the thing is, us giving them a 5-star hotel in Guantanamo Bay, I mean, we're going above and beyond the benevolence that we're supposed to be doing. And there's already a precedent that was established back in 1942 when Nazi saboteurs were captured in Long Island. President Roosevelt had them tried at a military tribunal, and they were summarily executed because they were not wearing any type of uniform. So this sickness that the people on the liberal left, these progressive have, that believe that they have to afford these illegal enemy combatants the exact same rights as American citizens is totally wrong. That's not going to change their perspective on. And the Bush administration as well made that mistake also.
Oh yeah, well, and they were. I think they began a program where they would send captured combatants back to Afghanistan or Yemen or things of that nature, which definitely wasn't good. I wanted to, before we have to go, I want to quickly ask you how your congressional race is going down in Florida's 22nd district.
Well, I tell you, it is going absolutely great, Dana, and you and your listening audience can go to GoWest2010.com and follow us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, as you well know, Flickr, and it's just going fantastic. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of speaking engagements tonight, one at a local Boca Raton Community Hospital, and then another one at a local civics group. The message is getting out, and people are receiving the message very well, and having the opportunity to be one of the closeout speakers at CPAC was just fantastic right before Glenn Beck. So please follow us, become part of the Go West team, and spread the message and whatever things you can do to help us to be successful in winning this congressional district down here in Florida is fantastic.
Well, we're very glad to have you, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, who has absolutely got the conservative grassroots very, very excited. Thanks so much for being on with me this afternoon, and good luck with your campaign. We'll be watching.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to being back with you again.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Oh, wonderful.